What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? Actually, let me turn this around this way. There you go. Actually, actually, I do like that better this way. Snap. All right, how's everyone doing? Let me unplug myself here. There we go. Hello. All right, so today is my first Entrepreneur Friday. And I decided a few weeks ago that I wanted to do streams Monday through Friday. Um, I decided that on Mondays I want to do live streams. On Wednesdays I want to do, or my, I'm sorry. On Monday I want to do intro to coding, coding live streams where I'm building the app a week. That's what I've been doing. Tuesday I have Tech Talk Tuesday. Wednesday is my intro to programming class, which I'm going to start off with Python starting next week. Thursday is Tech Talk Thursday, and then Friday is Entrepreneur Friday, where I give different entrepreneur tips and tricks to make your life easier as a entrepreneur. So today is the first one, and I'm actually streaming from my iPad today. And I meant to plug it up. I thought I had it plugged up, but the USB wasn't plugged into the wall socket. So I have it plugged up to the wall right here, which is why I'm sitting by the wall. So here in a few, I'll probably head over to the couch. But anyway, so today for the first Entrepreneur Friday, I wanted to talk about multiple streams of income, since that is the basis for wealth independence and financial freedom. But before I do that, I want to remind everybody to please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Tap on the bell so you get notifications every time I go live. The vast majority of my videos are live streams, and more times than not, I do have the phone lines open where you can actually call in and interact with me. And sometimes I do giveaways, like I give away cryptocurrency or I give away t-shirts or something like that. But anywho, if you haven't already, check out my website, JeromeParker.com. It's JYRONEPARKER.com. I actually have an ebook that's coming out May 1st from Noob to Artisan, which is going to be a course in full stack web development using Laravel, PHP framework, and Vue.js. So if you've never coded before, or you're new to coding and you want to learn full stack web development using industry best practices, I suggest that you give my ebook a chance. Right now there's a pre-sale going on until the end of the month. You can head over to my website, hit the shop tab, and it'll be right there front and center. And I think that's pretty much everything as far as housekeeping is concerned. Let me get right into it. Multiple streams of income. What is it? Why is it important? How do you go about getting multiple streams of income? And then how do you grow multiple streams of income? So multiple streams of income is exactly what it sounds like. You have more than one source of money coming into your bank account at one given point in time. The vast majority of Americans, in the world for that matter, live on a single income. You go to your job, you do your 9 to 5, and then you come home, go to sleep, you wake up, do the same thing all over again. And it doesn't matter whether you make $5 an hour or you make $100 an hour. If you are relying on a single income, you are not financially independent, because if you lose that source of income, then you're pretty much screwed, because now you have no money coming in. So you can have a lump sum of money but that doesn't make you necessarily financially free if you're not doing anything with that money. Same thing with, like I said, making a large hourly income or salary income. So the way to become financially free is to have multiple streams of income. If you have more than one source of income, if you get fired from the job, or the your place of employment goes bankrupt and now you're out of a job, you get laid off or whatnot, you still have another source of income. Now, depending on what your lifestyle is, depending on what your lifestyle is, that other source of income, those other sources of income may not be enough to keep up with your lifestyle. So you may have to find an additional source of income out, either it be get another 9 to 5, or repeat the process of what you're doing currently to get more money, or you adjust your lifestyle, which is easier said than done. Um, that's the basic gist of what multiple streams of income, of what multiple streams of income are. Now, there are different ways you can get multiple streams of income, and this is what the crux of this live stream is going to be about. So you have the traditional ways, which you have the stock market, mutual funds, uh, uh, CDs and IRAs and other forms of banking investments. You have real estate, and you have like royalties. Those are pretty much the old school sources of multiple alternative streams of income, and we'll talk about that. Well, and owning a business. I'm sorry, I can't forget owning a business. So basically, let's talk about that. So stock market. Everyone should be pretty familiar with the concept of the stock market. You invest in companies that are publicly trading, that are looking to raise capital. So they issue stocks on the stock exchange. You buy those stocks, and now you own part of that company. Now, where the multiple stream of income comes in with stocks is that some stocks are dividend stocks. So that means they pay you on a regular basis. I focus on stocks that pay monthly and quarterly dividends. So every month, I get a check. It goes back into my stock account, but in the form of cash. But you can withdraw it, and it takes like a day. So, whatever. But it goes back into the investment account every month, and then every 3 months, I have some other stocks that pay. So, every 3 months, I get a bigger check than the ones that I get every month. But these just come in the form of buying stock. And the type of stocks that I particularly invest in are REITs, real estate investment trusts. And a real estate investment trust is a company that invests in real estate projects, whether it be municipal, corporate, residential, what have you. In order to qualify as to be an REIT, you have to pay not at least 90% of your profits in the form of dividends to shareholders. So REITs are really interesting, and I like them because I want to eventually get into commercial real estate, residential and commercial, high end residential and commercial real estate. But I don't have a few million lying around to buy tall buildings. So instead, what I'm doing right now, while I'm trying to build that wealth, is I invest in REITs that invest in corporate structures. So, for example, one of my favorite REITs is Apple Real Estate REIT Trust, or Apple Hospitality REIT. So they fund, and they own and operate. Um, they own and operate hotels all across the U.S. High-end hotels in like the Marriott, Hilton brands. And for every share of stock that you buy, you get paid 10 cents a month just for holding those stocks. So the cool thing is, I'm at the point where my dividends equate to enough where I can buy additional stock. And that's what's called compound returns. When you get to the point where your dividends are coming in and it's enough where you can buy additional stock, so you can get more dividends, so you can buy additional stock to buy more dividend, it, the, the dividends, you're basically getting free stock, free money, and it's accumulating. And oftentimes companies offer direct reinvestment plans, or DRIP for short, where you can take your dividends and buy additional stock with it at a discounted price as a shareholder, and that's really cool. So my long game is to, I invest in tech stock and real estate stock that pay dividends. Except for Twitter. Twitter doesn't pay dividends, but it's a high growth tech company, so uh, I eventually plan on cashing out on that later in the future. But my plan is basically to try to buy at least at the minimum one stock a week. I really want to do one stock a day, but at the minimum one stock a week. And over the course of 20, 30 years, the amount that I'm getting from my monthly dividends, because the dividends typically outpace inflation. So your total, my total dividends equal out to, like, I think it's combined combined is like 8 something% a year, and most of them are paying monthly. So you know for every $100, I'm getting back $8 a year in the form of dividends, right? Um, oh, you do that over 20, 30 years, that's making a lot of money by the time I'm retirement age. And I don't plan on retiring in my 60s, but even still, having that additional source of income is pretty cool, because at any given point in time, instead of buying additional stock, if I need that money for, let's say, a bill, I know that I have X amount of money covering in that can, at the minimum, pay this bill or pay this bill, So it's pretty cool. And like I said, the other way of playing the stock market is buying stocks that are going to grow in value, and then you cash out later at a later date. I don't particularly like those. I like steady income, fixed income stocks, because that produces what's called residual income, passive income. It's just coming in. I don't have to do anything extra for that income other than the initial act of buying that stock. So since I was talking about REITs, I guess I'll hop right over into real estate, since that is the obvious transition. So getting into the real estate market is very lucrative for multiple reasons. So, same way with how with stocks, even though when you buy stock, you own the stock, so you still have your cash in the form of stock, and then you have dividends that actually pay out in cash. With real estate, let's take the simple example of owning a house. Let's say you own a condo, a two-bedroom condo. Okay, the model that I like to preach is, if you can get a two-bedroom condo, you live in one side, you rent out the other side. Let's say that you get a condo, and your mortgage payment ends up being $388 a month for the two bedroom condo, or two side condo. You could easily charge 400, 450 per condo, right? So you can either live in one side and you can rent out the other side, and you're basically living rent free except you have equity in your name. The house, the condo that you're living in is in your name. That's building your wealth. That's an asset. So, you're basically living for free. And yeah, I mean, you're not pocketing much. You're pocketing like what, 70 bucks, but you're living for free and pocketing 70 bucks. Here in Kentucky, like I just got my electric bill today. My electric bill was 57 bucks. So if I live in a condo, uh, so if I own this condo and I use 450 because that's what my rent is here, right? So if I own this and I was living in this side and renting out that side, I would be making enough money because I actually looked up like the value of homes similar to this because we're in a state of trying to you know house hunting and whatnot. So I actually found some stuff that's similar in value to the place I'm living in now. So I was actually looking at the stuff the other day, and most of the mortgages were in the 350 to 390 range. That's where I got 388 or 380 or whatever I said. So yeah, I mean, if I was pocketing 70 bucks a month, living in this side and renting out the other side, I would have enough to be paying my electric bill and still have $20 left over. So those are terms you got to think about because housing and eating are your two biggest expenses, right? So imagine the peace of mind. I mean, yeah, you're not rich by any means, but the peace of mind of you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about paying rent. You don't have to worry about being evicted. So you take that, you build up, you save your money. Now you buy another house or buy another condo, and this time when you buy another two unit condo, you can rent out both sides. So now let's keep the same figures of $450. So now you're so now the mortgage on that one, let's say it's 400. Okay, so you rent out both sides for 450. That's $900 minus your mortgage, which is $400. You pocketed $500. So you know, let's take my phone bill. The phone bill for my family is roughly $200 a month. So I got my water taken care of, or my electric taken care of. My water I have to pay every 2 months, and that usually comes up to about $120, about $60 a month. So yeah, $60. So I'm at 240. My internet is 80 bucks. Um, so that puts me at 160. So I got water, I got electric, and I got a gas bill that's like 70 bucks a month. So I'm at 90 bucks profit with my mortgage. With all my mortgages paid, with my phone paid, with my water paid, with my gas paid, my internet paid, and my cell phone bill paid, and I'm still pocketing what I say, 90 bucks or whatnot. Long story short, at that point you have complete peace of mind and you don't have to worry about anything. So that's the real estate. And you can basically repeat that ad infinitum. And you can either stay in residential, you can go on to commercial, you can do a hybrid of the two. You can go to flipping houses instead of renting houses out. I particularly would want to rent out because that's long term money. So that stocks in real estate. Mutual funds, pretty much similar to stock, but you're buying into the mutual fund, and the mutual fund actually buys the stock, so you don't own the stocks, you own part of the mutual fund. But everything else is pretty much the same concept wise as the stock market. Moving along, starting a business. Starting a business. Um, will can get you the highest returns, highest potential returns. It's also going to take the most work. So with me, I own a IT consulting business. We have engineers, we have to get contracts, we have to do marketing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's also my main source of income. Is my IT company. So depending on where you live, the process is going to be different. In Kentucky, it's pretty simple. We just have to file with the Chamber of Commerce in our county and file with the Department of Revenue with the state and get our um, EIN. You don't have to pay any. Oh, you got a registered agent, which costs like $100 a year. So compared to like for example, when I was living down in California, I think it was like an $800 a year business tax just like out the gate, something crazy like that. There was a lot of cost just to start up and maintain your business. In Kentucky is not really that much. So depending on where you live, you got to do all of your different administrative costs just to get your business off the ground. And then you have to do depending on what kind of business you do. If you're doing like software, you write an app or something like that, and it's a SaaS company, you might be able to run all this stuff by yourself. Which I'm going to talk about apps in a second. But if you're doing a more traditional company and you need to hire people, you're going to need startup capital, et cetera, et cetera. But um, the long term profits are, if once it is successful, I want to say like 4 out of 5 businesses fail. I mean, it's the success rate is not very high. Don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but I mean, it is what it is. So if you're one of the 20%, you once you become successful and you sustain successful profits past a certain point, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a nice solid source of income. So since I went ahead and brought up the topic of apps, let me bring that up. So apps are actually my second top form of income that I get. So the concept for apps can apply to books, music, any sort of creative work, basically. But because I'm an app developer, I know apps the best. I'm going to talk about apps. So basically, the premise is you write an app and you monetize it, and basically you just have to do maintenance upgrades every now and then. So how this works is basically once you make your app, there's several different ways that you can monetize it. The most basic and straightforward, however least lucrative way rather, is through ad monetization. So with ad monetization, basically your app is free. You put the ads on there on the top or on the side or in between state transitions or whatnot, and per X thousand views, you get X amount of money. Pretty simple. So really, it really only works if you have volume. So stuff like Flappy Bird. Flappy Bird was getting, I think, to the tune of $20,000 to $30,000 a day at one point, but that's because it had like millions of downloads and people playing on it for extreme amounts, extraordinary long amounts of time. So if you can get a game that's or an app that's viral, then ads should be sufficient enough. The next form for ads are in-app purchases, or apps rather, in-app purchases. So this is things like Candy Crush, or or I guess I'm going to say direct sales, in-app purchases slash direct sales. So Amazon, stuff like that. You're buying directly from the site. So whether it's in the form of like a power up or tokens for a game, or uh, you have a website that sells dog pillows, and people go to your website and they buy dog pillows, you ship it to their house. Direct sales will typically give you the most amount of money, but you have the least amount of conversion. And then you have the subscription model. The subscription model stuff like Blue Apron or Amazon Prime, Netflix, stuff like that. You're paying a consistent amount every month. Oh, what's conversion? Conversion is like how many people see it versus how many people click and follow through with it, right? So like if I see an ad for or if I go to Amazon and I search dog pillows, like I was saying earlier, uh, I'm getting a German Shepherd by the way, so this is why I'm talking about dog pillows. But I see somebody has dog pillows or whatnot. Just because I see your dog pillow doesn't mean I'll click and buy it. But what if I see it and I click it and I buy it? I go from being a potential customer to you converted me. So that I was a conversion. I converted to dollars because I went through and followed and bought your product. If that makes sense. Where was I? Subscriptions, yeah. So you're paying the same amount for unlimited content. So just like I said, Amazon Prime, Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. that's pretty. That's a pretty cool. I mean, you got to have a good product, but once you get a solid foundation, I mean, that's just solid money. You just got to keep your user base happy, and that's really easy residual passive income. And then finally, the last one is um, like affiliate marketing type deal. So this is stuff like Uber. Okay, uh, when you sign up as an Uber driver, you get a certain percentage, and Uber gets a certain percentage of each sale, right? So it's an affiliate marketing type thing. So Uber doesn't do all the driving. You as the Uber driver does all the driving, and Uber just takes a percentage because they provided the service. So when I write apps, I typically go with this type of model because everyone gets paid, and but you have the problem of volume and conversion, but it also allows you to expand the easiest, in my opinion. So anyway, so that's how you can do multiple streams of income using apps or other creative works. So like I said, the idea applies for like books, and I have a book coming out. Um, I'm gonna sell it on my website. Eventually, I'm gonna put it on Amazon and whatnot. But you take your book or your CD or whatnot, you put it out in the world, and every time someone buys, you get your sale. So any kind of creative work can can be used in that manner. The title of the book is going to be called From Noob to Artisan. Actually, if you go over to my website jeromeparker.com and head over to the shop, I'm doing a pre-sale until the end of the month, and you get 50% off of the book, and then you get a special coupon to my store when the book releases May 1st. Um, so if you want to support the channel and get the book, that'd be great. I appreciate it, or at least share it. But noob N00B. So like noob is short for a newbie, a new beginner, and the 00 part is just like little geek stuff thrown in there. Instead of saying NOOB, I said N00B. So what was I talking about? So I talked about stocks, I talked about real estate, I talked about mutual funds, I talked about apps and other creative works rather. I talked about starting a business. That is those are pretty much the general ways that you can create residual income. And then from there, you're going into different specifics, different niches, different subcategories and whatnot. But I think pretty much those are the main ways. I'm actually going to start having special guests. Yes, from noob to artisan. Correct. Yep, that is correct. Perfect. Um, Starting next Friday, I'm going to start having guests on my show. So the first guest that I'm going to try to get on is actually a really close colleague of mine, and he is also a senior software engineer, but he also is in real estate. So I'm gonna try to have him on and let you guys like ask questions or whatnot, because he does both the app side and the physical real estate side, where I do the apps and I do the stock market. I'm trying to transition over into the real estate. Oh my gosh, how could I forget cryptocurrency? So the last way that I would say it's a good way to produce residual income is through cryptocurrency. And when a lot of people think cryptocurrency, they're thinking Bitcoin and just like how Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies rise in value, and that is a great way. But that's similar to stocks, right? You know, you can buy stocks that rise in value, or you can buy stocks that pay dividends. So I like to focus on cryptocurrencies that uh, stake and pay you dividends in the form of coins. So, an example of this would be Neo and Neo Gas. As long as you hold Neo in a Neo wallet, you generate Neo Gas 3 to 5% every 5 minutes. So there's some people who are making like $40,000 to $60,000 a year just by holding onto the Neo that they have, or similar staking coins. So I like to invest in those kind of coins. Um, and of course I'm gonna be doing separate videos on each one of these topics in the weeks to come. This being my first episode, I wanted it to just kind of be like a general overview, entrepreneurship and multiple streams of income. But I will be going more in depth. I also want to leave the floor open to you guys to ask questions in the chat, uh, so I can answer more stuff, answer more questions and whatnot. So that's essentially cryptocurrency and how that can be in a residual or a multiple source of income. The typical millionaire has 8 sources of income coming in. Think about that. 8 sources of income, whether that's in the form of 8 houses or 8 stock portfolios, 8 businesses, or combination of them all. It doesn't really matter. Um, did I touch on banking investments? I know I said I was going to. I don't think I did. Let me talk about that. So this is as simple as you can be. You know, putting your money in the bank, letting it sit. It's not really a good idea because if you compare it with inflation, you're losing money. Um, Bank rates are horrible. Even with CDs, the money put into a CD, it doesn't. Even if you're putting it in there for like 10 years, you gotta put in a substantial amount. You're still only making a small percentage return. I feel like I have awesome ideas for apps, but worry I may not possess the focus necessary to code if coding is necessary. Is coding needed to create apps? What do you suggest? All right, good question. Good question. This is an entrepreneur question. All right, so let me reread the question again. Get the chat up. Why did the chat come up? There we go. So Milana York said, I feel like I have awesome ideas for apps, but worry I may not possess the focus necessary to code if coding is necessary to create apps. What do I suggest? So, my biased answer is to tell you to challenge yourself to see if you have that focus and try to learn how to code. There's multiple reasons for this. One of them being, I believe everyone should know how to code, just like how everyone knows how to type, everyone knows how to text message and get on social media. Everyone should know how to code. It should be taught in elementary school. Secondly, it will you'll get a huge sense of satisfaction and achievement by writing, making your own creation, and also no one else is going to be able to articulate your vision of your app the way that you picture it in your head. So if you want it done right, do it yourself type of deal. Thirdly, it's going to save you tremendously on cost. I do I do anywhere from 1 to 4 apps a month. If I had to pay out of pocket for a full time engineer to just sit around and code for me all day, first of all, I wouldn't get nearly as much done, and second of all, I'd be paying anywhere from $80,000 to $150,000 a year for a personal coder. So per project, I'd be paying like 20,000, 30,000, and that's not feasible for most people. If you're a billionaire, then sure, why not? But even if you're a millionaire, that's still not feasible for one person. So I would suggest that you challenge yourself, try to learn how to code. And when I say try, I mean give yourself at least 6 months. Give yourself 6 months of hard dedication, and you're gonna know you're gonna be honest with yourself, and you'll know if you're giving it the dedication that you need to or not. But give it 6 months of hard dedication if you're trying to hit the ground running, learn how to write your own apps. Also, I'll suggest that you learn. You need to decide if you want to do mobile apps or web apps. Um, I do both. I strongly suggest that you go with web. So I would be looking into stuff like JavaScript. I'll be looking at stuff like Python, PHP, HTML, CSS. If you look through some of my other, so you want to do mobile, I mean, that's cool. If you want to do mobile, then what I suggest is, do you want to do iOS or do you want to do Android or do you want to do both? And if you want to do both, which one? Oh, yeah, yeah. Do you want to do iOS, Android, or both? Because if you want to do Android, good choice. All right, so funny. Android is actually going through. Google's going through something with Android using Java right now. They just lost a suit with Oracle. They're going to challenge it or whatnot, but Oracle has sued them for using Java because they claimed that they were supposed to pay for a license. And, long story short, so Google made their own, or I don't know if Google made it or not, but they're switching over to Kotlin. So if I were you, I would still learn Java because there's going to be a couple years before it's a full transition. But I would learn Java, and I would learn Kotlin. And there's plenty of stuff online. Also, I do one-on-one classes for coding, so if that's something that you would want to do. Android is one of the topics that I teach, so we can talk about that offline. Um, it, you can do the coding camps. There's a variety of resources that you can tap to learn Android development. But I suggest that I applaud that. If you're gonna do mobile, stick with Android, stick with native, because even though right now web apps make a lot of money, like if you want to, if you're interested in doing like really heavy coding and stuff, native is still where it's at as far as like user experience and power. So yeah, just head over to Google and look at their Android resources. That should be enough. Actually, I'll take that back because Google writes their documentation for engineers. So like if you're new to coding and you just go and try to read their stuff, it's probably going to overwhelm you. But YouTube intro to Android. There's Google intro to Android. There's hundreds of thousands of videos. So yeah, so I don't, can't remember where I was with bank. Oh yeah, CDs and whatnot. So it typically doesn't keep up with inflation, and it's safe, but it's not really lucrative. So I would tell people to do stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency. Speaking of stocks and bonds and mutual funds, if you check the description on my video, I have links to Robinhood and Acorns, my affiliate links. Robinhood is a mobile app that allows you to trade stocks commission free. So you do not pay fees when you buy and sell your stock. Most brokers make you pay a fee, sometimes up to $5 per trade, buy or sell. So by using Robinhood, you save yourself tremendous money, tremendous amount. The money that would be going into a broker's hands goes back into your stock. So if you sign up using that affiliate link, we actually both get a free issue of stock. It's a random lottery, like a scratch off type thing, and you actually have a chance of winning Apple stock, Google stock, Amazon stock. Uh, but you're gonna win a stock regardless. But you have a chance of winning those high end ones. It's pretty cool. And then also Acorns. Acorns is the cool app because it allows you to do these things called roundups. So you attach your debit card, and every time you spend money, it rounds up the change and puts it into an account to go into the mutual fund stock market. So basically, let's say you buy something for and it's $1.50. Well, 50 cents because, or let me use $1.51. 49 cents, because that rounds up to the nearest dollar, would go into the mutual fund account. And then once it reaches a certain threshold, like $5, $10, $100, etc., it would dump that money into the stock market. So you don't even have to worry about it. All you gotta do is just swipe your debit card, and it'll invest for you in the background. So if you sign up using that link, once you start investing, we'll both get $5 put into our account, and that's pretty cool. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any more questions before we get off, like I said, I plan on having special guests. I plan on having I'm gonna try to get my colleague. I don't want to say his name in case he says no, but I'm pretty sure he'll say yeah. But we're gonna have try to have a special guest on starting next Friday. We're talking about real estate, uh, and apps, real estate and apps. So just as a quick overview, we have the stock market, we have the mutual fund market, we have cryptocurrency, we have building a business, we have uh, traditional banking investments, and I didn't speak about bonds. I said it, but I didn't speak about bonds. So bonds is basically you're reinvesting back into the government or a corporation. You can have corporate bonds or municipal bonds. A municipal bond is basically the state of Kentucky, right? I live in Kentucky. They might put out bonds because they're trying to raise funds for projects or whatnot. So you buy a bond, and then they pay you back a certain percentage. Let's say 2%. You put in $1 million, you get $20,000. $20,000 a year for 5 years, and then they pay you back your $1 million. Right. So that's the simplest form of how I can explain that in a crash course. And like I said, I'm going to be actually doing independent videos on each one of these topics in depth. But everyone who joined me live today, I appreciate it. Everyone who commented, I appreciate it. If you're not following me on social media, I'm most active on Twitter and Instagram. Both of my handles are at MasterShake08, MastaShake08. You can also find me on Snapchat at the same name. I have a Facebook group, Jerome Parker, facebook.com/Jerome Parker. Like I said, if you haven't had a chance to check out my website, please head through. It's www.jeromeparker.com. Please support this channel by participating in the pre-sale for my new book, From Noob to Artisan. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, tap the bell so you get notified when I go live. Guys, later.